Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond BMR. Of course, I'm your host, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. I know I did. Joining me in Studio B, as always, from Missouri, the lovely KRISTA. Also joining me from Missouri, the lovely Brandi. How you guys like that? I like having fun with that state's name. I believe they do call it the Show Me State. We'll leave it at that. Beyond BMR goes beyond the mysteries of the world. We take you on a deep dive in all the different realms, the realities, these rabbit holes. What is all this unknown phenomenon all about? Does it connect? I don't know. That's what this show is all about. We go from Bigfoot to Dogman, UFOs to aliens, time travel, a paranormal. Again, how do they all come together? If this is your first time here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob, found on YouTube. The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast, found on YouTube. And of course, Texas Front Porch, found on YouTube. You can also find us at iHeartRadio, KPNL Radio with the lovely Selene. And yes, we are independently podcasting with Spreaker Radio. What that means is, whatever your platform is, Apple, Google, Spotify, you can find us there. That got dropped last week or so ago, so it's a much easier way to find us on the podcast side. If you like our content, you like what we're doing around here, the super chat is available. The super chat's a great way to help support what we do around here. So your donations are always appreciated. The super chat, super thanks is also open. For those of you that browse the archives for the replays, it's also a nice thing that YouTube provides for us. Mentioning our shows that we do have across the board. Don't forget, Mondays is Texas Front Porch. You can find Tex and Brandi 7 Central, 8 in the East. Tuesdays, like today, Tuesday nights at 9 in the East, 8 Central, Beyond BMR with me and KRISTA. Wednesdays on Texas Front Porch is the Diva Dimension, 10 in the East. Thursdays right back here with Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. And I don't know who my co-host is going to be because once again, the father of the porch, Mr. Tex, has got a messed up work schedule. But the show goes on Thursday, 1 o'clock, Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Tuesday nights, of course, is the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast on their channel. 8 Central, 9 in the East. And if you need more woo with the booze, they do come on, of course, Friday nights, 8 Central, 9 in the East. And Tex has got a show on 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, 2 o'clock Central with Diva. It's called Infamous Minds. If you're into true crime, go check out Tex and Miss Diva on Saturday. And again, for those of you that have bought my book, Bigfoot Michigan Rob Presents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1. Thanks for everybody that bought that. A lot of you have bought it for Christmas, whether it's subscribers or people that have just happened to peruse Amazon. I appreciate that. When Amazon comes calling, please leave a review because that does help the analytics for book sales. So that, of course, is appreciated. And I thank each and every single one of you for buying it and coming on here this evening. Okay, I know, Christmas. We got our credit card bills coming January 15th. I get that. Keep this in the back of your mind, though. June 7th through the 8th, 2024, the Alabama Bigfoot Conference takes place with the all-star lineup, with all-star host Tex Wesson, Barton Nunnally, Inhumanoids, Daryl Denton, the Blondes and the Boos from, again, the Blondes and Boos Paranormal Podcast. Jason McLean, Greg Ogles, Mark Groves, and yours truly, BMR. We're all speaking. Anniston Performing Arts Center. Tickets $30 online, $35 at the door. So come on down and check us out. In early June. With that being said, I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to bring up my dual team tonight. The lovely KRISTA.
Hey.
Hello, KRISTA. And, of course, the fabulous Brandi.
Arg.
Arr. Yes, and that R reminded me. If you want to become a BMR Pirates,
Right.
join up. You get a picture of me sporting a bandana. It's relatively cheap to join.
Right. So welcome everybody and welcome to the Pirates. Arr.
Yeah, become a pirate and you can become a Swiss Miss, a Blonde and Boo on there. You can join up with them. They've got a lot of different levels. You got to check that out. But again, entry level $2.99. Come on. We can all do that, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, and of course, don't subscribe across the board to all our channels. Inhumanoids, Bart Nunnally as well, I'm going to throw out there. And, of course, our friend Donnie Cho. Donnie Cho says stuff. You never know what you're getting with Donnie.
Nope, you don't.
Give him some love as well to start the new
You get
year.
a little bit of everything with Donnie.
You don't know where you're going with Donnie. Donnie calls me up, want to do a show, Rob. Yeah, what are we talking about? Well, I don't know.
Right?
I like this the way I like it. I like the impromptu.
Yeah.
And Donnie's pretty cool. He's a smart guy. He can come up with things on the fly, much like we all can. Because I was thinking today's show will be kind of go on the fly. I got something that I'm going to talk about a little later. But before we get into it, I know we've talked over the text messaging the last couple of days. But before we get started, I'll start with KRISTA. How was your Christmas Eve, Christmas Day?
I had a great Christmas. Spent it with family. Got to see my dad, and I don't get to see my dad very often, so that was kind of cool. So yeah, I had a great Christmas, relaxing.
Yeah, well, I hear you there. It's all about relaxing.
Yeah.
And of course, Swiss Miss Brandi, Miss Hollywood, whatever. Brandi's got so many different nicknames. It's hard to keep up with you, Brandi.
They just call me whatever. I'll answer.
Of course, I call you Brando. So
yes, you do.
Third, So, Brandi, how was your little, get together or whatever you did?
Well, mine was a little different. I was sitting there on, I think it was Friday, right? And I've been having plumbing problems. Like nobody's ever had plumbing problems, right?
No.
So it'd been a minute, and I can't get these things to work right. So don't feel bad for me. I've got 3 other places I can use, or 2 other places in the house I can use. So it wasn't a big deal. And during the holiday season, I don't want to pay that kind of money. So my daughter was doing laundry. Well, I noticed that my shower was filling up, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to bail out my shower or we're going to have a mess in here, right?
Yes.
So as that was going, I'm just watching it rise and rise and rise. So I decided, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try something different. So I started plumbing the toilet, the shower, the tub, and I just kept rotating. Finally, I was like, man, I'm tired. I got to sit down. So I went and sat down and played on my phone for a little bit. Next thing you know, I hear this pop in the pipe, and then I hear everything draining.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh, let this be a good thing. So I went in the bathroom, and sure enough, everything was draining. I was like, hallelujah. That is $600 I just didn't want to pay, because that's what I had to pay the last time. I said, no, we're not doing that. So anyway, so that did that. Well, I went to bed that night. I woke up the next morning, and evidently I had done something to my sciatic nerve. So I have been hobbling around since Saturday, just trying to, as KRISTA says, pop ibuprofen, just keep taking it. And that's what I've been doing. And, since Saturday, I have been hobbling around. I mean, I'm starting to feel better, but it is a pain. So if you see me shifting a lot, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting off of that nerve and switching to the other side and switching back.
That's painful.
Well,
I'm like, I'm getting old.
well,
I
I
hear
gotta
you.
tell you, I have to tell you something, Brandy, because you and I kind of have like a lot of similar experiences. My plumbing, okay, had a plumbing issue last year. I couldn't see you guys in Michigan. Okay, well, we all know that story. I got a washing machine that's been leaking, and it only leaks like in the spin cycle. It's not a big leak, but it's enough. It's so annoying that if you're walking barefoot or if you're walking in socks, you're soaked. It's easy to clean up. So I'm trying to figure out. So I'm picking it up, trying to look for leaks underneath where I can kind of spot where it's leaking, and and I'm trying to take a picture. Now you got to remember, I'm on my hands and knees, and my left knee is bad. I had surgery on it, so it does it. And dumb me doesn't put nothing down. I just go right knees on cement, basically, because this part of my room is cement. So I'm picking up with my left arm is with all my might the washing machine. I pull off the wall, of course, and I'm trying to get my phone under there. I'm snapping pictures, just trying to find the leak. Right? I don't recommend that to anybody.
No.
I'll leave it at that. Very, yeah. I'm getting older too. I couldn't hold it long enough. I got just
I hear you. See, I'm lucky here because my son's a plumber. So
well. Thank you, 1,200 miles.
if either one of you
But
were closer,
you
just
know,
saying.
so but I'm looking back, but all the hoses are fine. They're connected. And I got this plan. I pay like it's really cheap. Everybody, I suggest wherever you live, it's like $13.97 a month. It covers all. It's through my electric company, but it covers all major appliances.
Mhm.
Free people, technicians come out free if something needs replaced. Depending on the item, it's either great discount or they can swap it out for you. So it's worth the investment. And I probably used it once in the last 5 years.
Mhm.
So I said, I called the guy. Guy came out and well, that guy came out today. And of course, I told the guy it takes about, you gotta go with the spin cycle. He goes, well, I can go through everything. I know how to program it to go through every cycle. So the guy's back there working on my washing machine, fills it up. I can hear the rinse. I hear everything. He goes, sir, can you come in here, please? And I'm figuring I have to hold up the machine for him. He comes in there and the damn thing didn't leak. Not one drip of water came out.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Mhm.
He says, well, I said, man, it's happened. I'm not kidding you. Every time I get a puddle every time. Now, of course, when you're here, Sally says, well, the best thing you can do is this. When you do it again, if the water starts coming underneath, do what I already did, pick it up, try to take a picture. So I'm going to have to go through that process at least one more time. So that was today. He told me this. I'm like, okay, thanks. Have a, good rest of the week, whatever. And then my Christmas Eve started out the morning. So for people that don't know, my mom, my dad passed away some time ago, and the family got together, and I decided, you know what, Ma, you're not living by yourself. So my mom now lives with me,
Mhm.
so which is cool. She's got her area to do her stuff. Christmas Eve morning, Robbie, what? My TV don't work. Christmas Eve, of course, and I'm like, okay.
Not a
I
good
go,
time to go to the store to
nah,
buy
and I
one.
go, man, you're laying on your controller or something. You did something. I spent a good hour and a half. Mind you, I got a lot of things to get ready to do for Christmas Eve. I'm like, well, Ma, here's the thing. Everything else in the house works. We need new TV for you. Well, we're not doing it today, obviously. And she didn't care about that. So today I went and got her TV and everything works fine. Except, you know what? Talking about getting old. I set up the TV, no problem. It took me about 20 minutes. Was on my hands and knees trying to put on the damn legs. I'm trying to line the screw up. It's dark. It's already dark. It's like 6 o'clock when I got this TV. It's dark in the house. It don't matter. The light from the lamps and didn't work. I got a flashlight, but I got one hand here, screwdriver here with the magnetic tip. Fortunately, my mom's like, "Can I hold it for you? Do something? Get away from me!" No, because I don't love. I just like doing stuff on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, Ma, you got to help me out with this. Can you hold the TV so I can fucking put these legs on? Excuse my language. That's how mad I was.
Right. Right.
Line them up. Go to turn it on. It's not working because now I got to get a new password and you know. However, she's watching TV and I'm quite happy.
Well, that's all that matters, then, isn't it?
And of course it is. And yes, and Christmas Eve was great. Christmas Day was good. Everything was good. You know, so we got the rest of this week, I guess, is kind of wrapping it up. And so yeah, so it was.
Well, my morning today was good. I won $100.
I heard that.
Yeah, so started out good.
If you would have spent another 50 cents, you got yourself $600, right?
Yeah, thanks. Rub it in, Rob.
Yeah, well, no problem.
Good story.
Yeah, Donnie, I did a little Donnie Show says stuff. It was a little frustrating. Yeah, you know, it slipped out, but what are you going to do? It's the holidays. We're wrapping up.
It happens.
You know, it happens, but I said it jovially, not, you know, like in a mean way or dispirited way. But, you know, so today's Tuesday, then we have a show Thursday. Then, of course, the new year starts January.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have no guests. I have no guests today or tomorrow or Thursday because, you know, people are doing things and I get that.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But
yeah.
it really doesn't matter when we all get together. It's always a good show.
Yep.
So, and I've got a cool Dogman story that I'll do probably last today because I got one. But
we always have a lot to talk about, you know that.
And we always have a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, we'll get this puppy rolling, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Either KRISTA or Brandi. What's on the top? Okay, I guess I'll form the question like this. What are you looking most forward to in the cryptid and paranormal field based on past experiences or some things that you want to really dive into for 2024?
Wow, that's a good question.
That's a huge question.
That's a question that you can be open-ended question where you can say whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Well, Brandi,
I guess.
Well, I was
go ahead.
I was going to say you and I had already talked about not doing as many conferences and going out in the field more. You know.
Yeah. I guess because we want to get more experience out in the field. You know, we're really just beginning the whole thing. I mean, honestly, even though we've both had, you know, an encounter, we're still just beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I guess that's on our list for 2024 is to, you know, to really get out there and experience this stuff.
And Brandi, let me ask really quick, not to interrupt you, of course. You did have your very first, both you guys did, the encounter with Bigfoot. Now, of course, you've been doing paranormal for maybe a decade, maybe longer.
Longer than that, yeah.
And the decade is easy to say, right? You're probably doing maybe 2 decades, I guess, perhaps, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like to expound on people's age, but
thanks.
I still got a couple of years on both of you guys. I'm the eldest statesman here, so. But yeah, so when you had the encounter, and of course the LBL, you've done a lot of shows on the LBL. Been with Bart, you met his group and such, and became friends with them, and I know you dig the paranormal. But let me ask you: are you looking forward to maybe getting some more cryptid encounters when you move forward, or a nice balance?
I guess for me, I've done the paranormal so long, it kind of bores me now. It's not that, you know, like I like private cases. I like going and helping people and doing that kind of thing. But what Brandi does and goes to these haunted locations, it's not my thing. I'm just not really into that. So for me personally, I would much rather go out in the cryptid field and look for things like that, or even watch the skies, because now I'm kind of new to that. I mean, obviously, if somebody calls us and they need help with a private case, we'll be there. We'll do it for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, that's why we got into this, was to help people. And so we'll continue to do that. But for me, it's more out in the woods.
So for you, that you still want to help people with paranormal. You're not going to
Mhm.
turn a blind eye to anybody who's got a
Oh no,
paranormal encounter.
absolutely not.
You're more, you like to focus your opportunities, maybe just being out more in the woods a little more so than going to haunted houses.
For me, yes.
For you, and with Brandy, I know you probably want to do both, because I know Brandy will travel by Brandy. You'll travel by yourself with your
Yes.
and just go.
Mhm.
I'm
Yes.
sure that's still going to happen for you, but you want
Yes.
to increase a little more of your activities out in the woods as well, then.
Oh yeah, 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 absolutely. I mean, I'm going to try to get out there as much as possible. I do have we do have a few dates set up already for 2024 where we're going to get out more, and we're
Mhm.
going to try different locations and things like that. But paranormal wise, for me, I'm going to try to go back and hit some of these places and see. It's hard to explain. I want to know for myself: is this really happening to me? Because some of the things that had happened to me are kind of like crazy. And I want to go back again. I want to see if this is really happening. Like the haunted hill house in Texas. I've got plans to go back there. Um, and that place was so like crazy. Like the activity was just nonstop. I mean, you just have enough time to breathe and then something else was happening. But I want to go back into that environment with, some of the same people, but different people. And I want to see like, what I can catch. Cause I didn't catch as much on video and audio as I would have hoped to catch. So I'm going to try to do more on that side of things at that location. But I'm
Mhm.
also going to go to places that I've frequented a lot of times. And I want to go back because there's other places where I haven't had that much activity. And we all know that you can sit somewhere that is really haunted all
Mhm.
night long and nothing happened.
Right.
And I want to go back to some of those places that type of thing happened and see what I can get with maybe a different group or a smaller group or see what happens.
Yeah. Yep.
So
What about you,
basically,
Rob? What are you gonna do? When you gonna?
well, here's what I plan on doing. I I plan on getting a little more out now that I know, because for me to go to the places I want to get into in the woods where I know Bigfoot is, where Dogman is, I got to go, and it's not a big deal. Don't get me wrong; I don't mind driving. For me to get to a
Mhm.
nice hot spot, 3.5 hours, which is not bad at
Shoot,
all.
that's nothing for me and Brandy.
But here's my thing: I don't want to be. But here's my thing. Here's my thing, though. When I talk about this, I've got my creek that I can walk down to every day and investigate, and it
There you
goes
go.
7 miles. I can hike that every day, right?
Hmm.
But here's the other thing. Yes, the 3.5 hour ride is nothing, but I'm this type of guy. It would be me going by myself. And I'm not a wimp or a wuss, but for me to go, I'd want to leave on a Thursday night, get to a place Friday morning, and come home on Monday. I'm not so sure I'm the type of guy that wants to camp in the woods for 3 days all by myself, because I'm still kind of a novice when it comes to the woods and tracking and negotiating
Hmm.
the woods, traversing about the woods. Yes, there's GPS and all that. I'm not 100%. I'll admit it. I'll admit it now and say I'm not 100% comfortable traversing in the woods alone.
Hmm.
And you shouldn't be. You
And
Right.
I
shouldn't
I
don't
be. You
have
should
agree.
never
friends.
go in by
I have
yourself.
no friends that will do
Right.
that, because I believe
Mm.
this. I believe, as much as I love the weekend warriors that do that, and I commend you, I think that you got to settle in 24 to 36 hours in a spot just to get the lay
Hmm.
of the land for
Right.
whatever Bigfoot or cryptid is around, to kind of get a sense of who you are. Because we
Sure.
all talk about what's your intention. Oh, here's the guy who wants to find Bigfoot. Well, we're not going to show ourselves. But once you're out there showing that you have good intentions, as you always talk about, I think sometimes it takes a while. And I don't want to go up there, drive 3 hours, and get there at 5 in the morning, and then come home at 3 in the morning and drive home. I'll be
Hmm.
exhausted. Just don't want to do it. I want to spend 3 or 4 solid days. And
Hmm.
again, with somebody else, not by myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, when I get more acclimated and feel more confident with myself in the woods, then maybe perhaps I'll just go solo. But until I get a partner to come with me, probably not going to happen as often.
I know. Bart did invite you to go to the Land Between the Lakes with all of
Yes.
us. You need to make
That's
that trip.
That's definitely a trip that I'm going to make for sure,
Right.
because that's always going to be there. But as I
Yeah.
did mention to you guys, we got the I'm going to make damn sure that I make sure I hit the creek by the house, because I seen a couple Dogman prints, right, from my neighbor that showed me, had photos of. Then I did go investigating and found that tunnel with that weird tunnel that where he had gotten the Dogman prints
Right.
tracks from. So I will definitely be out there as much as possible hiking it, because I can hike that 7 days a week, right?
That's awesome.
Morning, day or night. So that definitely I'm going to do a lot more of, and also try to investigate more. Not do the investigations, but become more aware of the paranormal and the ghost thing, because as you guys know, I've got more of those types of situations or experiences than cryptids, right? I had one cool, well, I don't know if it's cool or not. I had the one cryptid experience and 20 paranormal experiences.
Right.
I kind of want to hone my skills in that area. And also for the show, for our people, our audience, our people in chat, I want to kind of learn more about when I have guests on to help expand and broaden the show. I want to talk more about like the time travel, missing or haunted villages that have been lost in time. You can watch like the Travel Channel; they'll give you good ideas.
Yeah.
They're giving me good ideas about who to have on the show, because I don't want to just talk Bigfoot and cryptids and paranormal on every show. I want to expand that in 2024, because as we always mention, and what I always say in the title of this show is everything's connected. So that's something I really want to take a deeper dive into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome.
So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to doing here.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah, I think 2024 is it's going to be a good year. I'm looking forward to it. And I talked to Brandi this morning on my way into work, and we were talking about leave everything from 2023 behind and move on to 2024 with no hard feelings, just new year, new book.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I got my Bigfoot book, my book. I'm working on book 2 already. I would like to have that released in the summer. And I'm also putting together a book of all my personal experiences in life. So I've got 2 books in the work that I'm started, which I'm going to hopefully have them both completed in June. So I'm going to be busy with that as well. So and trying to fit in actual investigations on my own or with you guys, or whoever, right?
That says, we spent a lot of time at conferences this past year. And I think right now, Brandi, we have just 3 as of right now that we're doing?
3 or 4. There's 3 or 4.
Yeah, we're just doing, we got one in January. We got, what else we got? We got the Alabama Bigfoot Conference, and then we're going to do Josh Turner's The Dogman Conference, and that's it.
Well, we also have Falk, Arkansas in April.
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah, now who's putting that on? Is that the William Lunsford? I know that's William Lunsford's neck of the woods.
Area.
It's his area.
I don't know who's putting it on.
Okay.
I want to say, is it maybe Craig Woolheater?
That's who I think it is, but then again, I don't know. I don't know. It's because that's only like 5 hours from me. That's nothing for me to go to.
Falk.
Really.
Falk is awesome.
Falk is
William
and
took us to his spots, and I'll tell you
that's another thing though, because going to Falk and doing the conference, well, we know where we can go after the conference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be in my hiking boots.
Yeah.
And my pants out there running around in the dark.
We'll be hanging out with Will Lunsford.
Yeah,
that's right.
Will, great guy. Yeah, I had Will on.
Great guy.
Yeah, I'll have him. He'll be on in January, and he doesn't know it yet. But I just manifest these things. Like I have nobody scheduled for January because December's such a busy month.
Oh yeah,
but yes,
it is.
you did make mention of something, Brandy. 3 things I'm doing is the Alabama Bigfoot Conference. I'm going to go to Kentucky and visit with Bart and Letitia and
Yep.
become a member of the Wolf
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Brotherhood, right?
Yep.
And I also, Josh Turner invited me to speak if he does do the conference. I know that I've got like you guys as well. So that's 3 things I'm doing for sure in 2024.
Well,
That's
we'll
what
see
you
you
need to
3
do.
times next year then, Rob.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's
I'm
cool. We
looking
get to hang
forward
out
to it.
more.
Yeah. And I would have thrown Brown Springs in there, but again, that's the 4th thing, but I don't think I'm gonna do all 4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll be out there again. I'm not going to say that, but I'll be out there.
Yeah. And then we usually, like I said, I want to go back to Falk and do some investigating down there. And Brandi and I have talked about that. And then, of course, the LBL, we go there 4 or 5 times a year. And
that's nothing to go there.
Yeah,
nothing.
Some of my sisters from the sisterhood are in chat. And so, we all got to reconnect,
Right.
So,
right.
So we got to make time for those things too.
It's like we have withdrawals and just go to the LBL just to get over it.
Yes, thank you to Fell Bay. I haven't seen you in a while. Merry Christmas, buddy. I appreciate the super sticker.
Merry Christmas. But yeah, I mean, speaking of the LBL and things, people were talking about the Bell Witch Cave.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, here we go on this subject again. I hate even talking about it.
Why don't you tell them about the story with Martin Groves?
Yeah, okay. Because this is why, I mean, it never bothered me before until this started happening. Because when we were talking to Martin Groves, we were all sitting out at the LBL in front of a fire, and he started telling us that he doesn't like to talk about the Bell Witch because every time he talks about the Bell Witch, something bad happens. We're like, okay. And we're just kind of like sitting back like, okay, go ahead.
We're at the LBL. Don't tell us something bad's going to happen.
Right. So we're just out here. We're like, okay, all right. So he started telling us, and we're all 3 of us were just sitting, together right next to the fire. And he's telling us all these stories. And believe me, they are very interesting, the stories he has to tell us, So we're really into watching. And Daryl Denton was messing with the fire, and he put a log on the fire, and
he's messing with the fire. Letitia just have it like she had it.
Yep. And all this, and he's into telling us the stories. Next thing you know, this log just came off the fire and fell and hit his shin and broke it. He got a hairline fracture through his shin and broke his toes.
No.
Sure did. While he was talking about the Bell Witch.
Yes.
100% true. 100%,
yes.
100%
Now the log fell off the fire?
Yes.
Yeah.
How close was his
He just had his foot kind of propped up there. It wasn't like, it didn't look like
it
was.
The fire wasn't. The fire wasn't on the ground. It was in a pit.
Oh, yeah.
It was in a pit and came off the fire and hit him in the shin. It was in a pit.
Yeah. It jacked him up. It truly did. So, like, honestly, I see about the Bell Witch, but.
Yeah, he got a hairline fracture and broke some of his toes.
Yeah. So I have no desire to go to the Bell Witch. If we witnessed talking about it and something happened, I'm not saying that it was because we were talking about the Bell Witch. However, that's not the first story we've heard about the Bell Witch doing something like that.
But I mean, I've been wanting to go. I've been wanting to go to the cave and all of that stuff. But, they did close it down in 2020, and it's been closed for a long time due to COVID. And then I don't know why else. They say that it was having issues, that it wasn't safe, that they were trying to fix that, whatever they were trying to do. So anyway, they've opened it back up. You can go into it, but they're not doing overnight investigations, which that's what I want to do. If they don't have that open, I'm not going to go over there.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Bell Witch too? Doesn't a lot of the stories with the Bell Witch that takes place during the Civil War time?
Before is pre-Civil War.
Pre-Civil War, leading up to the Civil War then?
Yeah.
And that was a family, and their name was Bell,
John Bell.
John Bell.
Yep.
And okay, yes, and I believe that there was a hoax or curse put on that family
Yes.
that went throughout time, and it seems like all the members of this family or the bloodline,
He and
horrible
his
things
daughter
had
were
happened to them.
targets. He and
Yeah.
one of the daughters was the main targets. I think everybody was affected, but I think him and the one daughter, and I don't remember her name offhand, but they were the targets for the Bell Witch.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh,
So-
Moon, really quickly, Moon at Noon says, "How about them Ravens?" Yes, I like the Ravens' victory. Thank you for that. And by the way, I can't believe I did not mention it. See, I'm sporting my Detroit Lions. I don't know what you call this beanie, I guess, because they
Yep.
are for the first time in 30 years, the NFL, the NFC North champions in the great state of Michigan, the city of Detroit. We are going to the playoffs. We have a home playoff game. We've got to beat them Cowboys next week, and then Minnesota again to have a second seed, which really means we would get 2 home playoff games. Yes, my Lions, 30 years of suffering, everybody. We'll leave it at that.
And you said their next game is a home game?
No, they play on the road against Dallas, which unfortunately Dallas has not lost a game. They're 17-1 at home the last 18. So Lions probably ain't gonna win that one. Although I'm optimistic. So yeah,
there you go.
Another big year coming up.
There you go.
So congratulations. I know most people aren't into sports, but when Moon brought up the Ravens, who I believe the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. So
good deal. Well, all St. Louis are not St. Louis, Kansas City has now is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. So we don't have football anymore. We just got the Travis Taylor.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you guys something again. I apologize if everybody's not a sports fan. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds of this. Ever since Travis Kelce started dating Taylor Swift, when he became a Swiftie, his production and his play is for the birds. What is it about these women with these athletes? And all of a sudden, they can't focus on the game. It happened years ago. Tony Romo was dating the young girl, the blonde, who's very popular. She wore the Daisy Dukes. In fact, she was in that movie.
Jessica
Simpson.
Yeah.
Jessica Simpson started dating Tony Romo, and his play went for the birds. Hey, it's great. Find a girl, date them, have a good time. But why do these professional athletes all of a sudden their game?
Well, my thing is this: Taylor Swift.
Pressure.
Let's go with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, let's go. That's more current.
The man makes less than Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Okay. He has always had to make his own money. Now he's with a woman that makes more money than him.
But he's not doing too shabby at $20 million a year.
She's got a higher profile than him.
I think she just hit like the $1 billion thing I read.
He's worth a couple $100 million, so he's not exactly.
Yeah, she's way more than him. She's been.
I think she did hit the $1 billion.
I think she did. I think she did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, if you deposit $1 million in my bank account tomorrow morning, I would feel like I'm, that's all I need, right?
Oh, that's all any of us normal people would ever need.
And just think, she keeps at it. She can make that every year for the rest of her life as long as she wants to.
Yeah.
And his career will end eventually.
Well, he's already talking about retiring, for God's sakes.
Because he's got Taylor Swift.
Yeah, he's got a sugar mama. Why wouldn't he?
He's got a sugar mama, but let me tell you something, Mr. Travis. She's got lawyers that have you sign a prenuptial, so after 5 years, when she dumps you, you don't get a dime.
Yeah, she'll dump him and write a song about him.
Yeah, and make another $1 billion.
Right. There you go. And she'll make more money
She'll
off
dump
of
him
it.
and sing a song about him.
Yep.
Well,
No, it
everybody.
was funny. So my friend Kathy, who runs the Ray County Museum, her daughter is in town, and they went to the Chiefs game yesterday down there, and I haven't had a chance to ask her. I said, well, keep your eyes open for Taylor Swift, because I had heard she was going to be there, so I'll have to ask her if she got to see Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Well,
how did we get to talking about Taylor Swift from Dogman? Just
I started
asking.
talking about the Lions.
He started talking about women dating football players.
Yeah,
there we go.
And we're talking about poor Martin getting his, we're talking about the Bell Witch and the breaking of ankles or shin bones.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I don't like to talk. I don't like to talk about that place. I mean, I want to go. I want to investigate it. I want to see it for what it is. But if they're not doing night investigations, I can't. So I can't go with that many people.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And plus, you don't want to take anything from there either, because I
don't take nothing from nowhere.
Well, that's what they say, though. I mean, like the Bell Witch, she will curse you. That's
Thomas. Look at Thomas's comment on. I'm assuming this is on Miss
Miss Swift.
Yeah,
she is the Bell Witch.
Yeah. Good one there, Thomas.
Yeah, she's but the Bell Witch. So, like, I honestly, myself, I have no interest in going there.
Oh, no. But I do. But I just don't want to do it with everyone else. I have to have quiet and all that, because you can't hear nothing. You can't see nothing. And, and I'm so weird about it that even when I go to outdoor things like that, I will flick the rocks out of my shoes. If they get caught up in my tennis shoes, I will flick them out of my shoes. Yep. I promise you that is a no for me. I don't take nothing.
Well, here's something I want to do with you two, actually, because it is paranormal and scary. And again, last 2 nights ago, it was on TV again, and it was a newer version. It was this, you guys. I saw this newer version of this on Travel Channel or something, and I've always talked to you guys about here in Michigan, not far from me, 30, 40 minutes, Eloise Asylum. They dropped a brand new. I was going to call you guys, say you guys got to watch this, but it was already 30 minutes into it, and I wanted you to see it from the beginning. Eloise Asylum, everybody. It's a place where they did unspeakable things back in the early 1940s to patients. Okay, they experimented on them. They did brain surgery. They did mess with their limbs. And these were people that not all of them were insane. Then they started taking in the criminally insane that had to go there when they got sentenced for whatever horrific murder they did or whatever they did. They went there for rehabilitation. Well, none of them got rehabilitated. They all died because of this place.
Wow.
It was shut down for many, many decades. And I had visited it about 15 years ago with 2 friends of mine when it was just, you were not allowed in. It wasn't remodeled. Everything was standing still. And I told the story. We went the tunnels, got very creepy. It was very dark in there. Couldn't see anything. And my friends that I went on prior to this had been going there and just getting all these things. Rob, you have to come with us. It's very creepy. We're seeing all sorts of things. Of course, the night we get in, you got to hop this fence, and it's got barbed wire on it. We had to put leather over the top and go over and not cut ourselves. Then we had to sneak around to the back and then tunnel in and go underneath into these tunnels. And that's where we took those pictures. We took like 50 pictures. They were all dark, except for the one which there was a ghost of a person on one of the beds. What do you call it? You lay you out on or whatever. And there was a picture of this object, this person, right? So I'm like, yeah, I gotta go, man. It's very creepy, and it's not far from here. Now, today, everybody, it is open to the public. You pay a fee, you go in, and I did find out that for a fee, you can also go in by yourself, much like the other guy we had on the show, friend of your guys, who's been on twice now. The guy with the manor, Brent
Josh
Manor,
Hurd.
Josh Hurd.
Hurd. So
Mhm.
now with this place, I guess now you can pay and spend the night in this place and just have small groups. They'll
That'd be
close it to
cool.
the public because there's a public walkthrough every day. Now you can actually, if you're an investigator, you can go in limited people, which is cool.
So here's the deal, Rob. You probably need to look into it and see what it costs.
I'm going to look at all this.
To come up.
But here is the thing that I want to mention to you guys, which I never told you guys, and I never knew this until last week. They're out, and again, this is an expansive property. This place is huge, but in the back, there's about 3 acres of grass. And it's all inside. It's in a meadow surrounded by the woods, and they had they had their apparatus where they went down and looked into the ground to see what was down there. And it was very unusual readings they were getting. There was like boxes, like coffins or whatever, according on the show. The next day they didn't understand this, and they went back and talked to the owner. There's one owner of this place. And he said, I was not going to tell you, and I was afraid that you guys wouldn't find this out. Well, everybody listening, on this 3 acre or 4 acre, it's expansive meadow, lays 6,000 corpses of people that died inside this place.
It's awful.
And they died, all of them. Well, I'm not going to say all too finite, right? I don't be that factual, but they all died there. They got so much energy on these devices, girls, that they were, and everybody listening, that they were using, they were like going off. And of course, it's on the Travel Channel. I know they did a lot of editing. I'm sure they had to be there for weeks to get all this right. But it had me gripped. And I don't watch ghost hunter shows because I usually get bored and turn them off, to be frank with you guys. And I wish I could have seen it from the beginning. It was a 2-hour show though, guys. And I watched this thing and I could not leave.
Do you remember what it was called?
I'm gonna have to look it up. I was gonna text either you or Brandi. Oh my god, I was gonna call you. Go on Discovery Channel right now. I mean, it was late at night. You guys were probably sleeping. Yeah. So I didn't want to bug you. And then of course the next day I forgot, and life goes on.
Right.
But yeah, it was fantastic. It was brand new, and I'm like, yeah, that's an investigation I'd like to go with you guys. I think you guys would dig it. And,
for sure.
And yeah. And you can, sleep over here if you want, no charge. I won't charge you.
Right.
I don't know if you can sleep in this place. I don't know how long. I don't know if you could spend the night. I think maybe it was like 18 hours or something, but long enough to be there, right?
Wow.
But yeah, Eloise. You guys research Eloise.
Yeah, I'm going to.
I'm sure you guys have already, but I tell you, the creepiest place here where I live, it's a 20 or 30-minute ride.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is I have looked at that. I've not read a whole lot on it because that's just me, but I couldn't get into the place. It was not open. I couldn't get into it. They were not doing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as right now, according to what I looked up, it's open for. Now I don't know if it's a seasonal thing. I don't know if it's open 24/7.
Right.
52
yeah,
weeks.
Especially being in Michigan, if they cannot supply heat, not necessarily air, but heat, if they cannot even like in a particular zone. Now I've been in places where they've had no heat, but they have like what they call a team room or ground zero, whatever room they want to name it. But it's so you can charge your equipment, get warm, get cool, or get your drinks, whatever. If they don't have that available, well, then it's usually just seasonal.
That could be the case. And also, though, one thing I was kind of bummed out about.
Bathrooms.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I was bummed out about, you guys, and I think I told you guys this some time ago, they remodeled the front, a brand new, pretty building in the front, and they might have remodeled. They did some interior work, like where you first walk in, where you as a guest you would check in
Mm-hmm.
or
Mhm.
check out.
Right.
That was all set up. It looks pretty nice, but the
Cool.
rest of it they've left as is. But I think there's certain codes, they, they can't let us walk around if it's not safe. So my
Right.
thinking is this: the places that have been the things. This is my only concern. Things that have been fixed up to code probably is not worth it. But if we can get into the catacombs, into the field where you're
Mhm.
not supposed to go, that is, I think, where it would be at.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's we could get lost, the three of us, if we went on
Well,
our own journey.
you know what? We're coming up on the 52-minute mark here. But what I want to say about that is I want to talk to you about that when we come back, because what you're saying sometimes is not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, maybe it's not. I hope
Sometimes straight out in the open is exactly where everything's at.
Well, again, you guys,
Right.
you know a little more than I do, but yeah, we are coming up on the. Don't anyone go anywhere. We got already 81 people in chat. Let's keep it there.
Yeah, don't
Now,
leave.
don't leave. We'll be back for the second half. It's a 5-minute break. Get your pop, your chips, whatever it is you do for 5 minutes. We'll be
Get your
back.
snacks.
Get your snacks. We'll be back with KRISTA and Brandi.
Be right back.
Yeah, BMR.
nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond BMR with KRISTA and Brandi. Great show tonight. Great show tonight. Speaking of great, thanks to Falel Bay for your awesome super chat. Yes, the super chat is open. It's a great way to help support what we do around here. If you want to become a BMR pirate, join up. We get a little picture of me wearing a pirate bandana. Become a pirate today. Become a pirate today. For those of you that bought my book, Bigfoot Mystery Rob Presents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1, I thank you all for that. I really do appreciate that. When Amazon comes calling, it's all analytics these days. Please leave a review. It does help the sales of the book. June 7th and 8th, 2024, Alabama Bigfoot Conference. Your host is Tex. Speaker lineup, Barton Nunnally, Daryl Denton, The Blondes and the Booze, Jason McLean, Greg Ogles, Martin Groves, and yours truly. $30 online, $35 at the door. Thank you to everybody for that. And whoops, I'm going to pull that down. There we go. Back to me. And don't forget, of course, throughout the week, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Please subscribe to The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube. Texas Front Porch on YouTube. Inhumanoids with Barton Nunnally, and of course, our buddy Donnie Cho. Donnie Cho says stuff. Mondays is Texas Front Porch, 7 Central, 8 in the East. Tuesday, Beyond BMR, 8 Central, 9 in the East. Wednesdays, the Diva Dimension on Front Porch, 10 in the East. Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob on Thursday, 1 in the East. You got the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast, of course, 8 Central, 9 in the East. You get more Woo with the Booze on Friday, 8 Central, 9 in the East. Saturday Text, if you're into true crime, Infamous Minds, that airs 2 Central, 3 in the East on Saturday. Thanks to everybody. Super chats and stickers are open. Pirate is open. And with that being said, hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. Thanks to everybody for coming on in this evening to join KRISTA and, of course, Brandi.
Hey.
And hello, girls.
You know, you were talking about that conference in Alabama, and you know, if anybody is close in the area, come and hang out with us, because on that Friday night, it's like we're all just going to be hanging out, having a good time, and come join us. You know, it's nothing official, nothing, you know, it's just going to be a fun night.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hang. From what I understand, KRISTA, Brandi, it's just a hangout on a Saturday the night before, right?
On Friday the night before, yeah.
Oh yeah, Friday. Yeah, okay, yeah, Friday the night before.
Yeah,
and yeah, so
yeah.
So what it is we're all going to go to dinner we're inviting everybody to come to dinner with us. All you have to do is make sure that you reserve your seat. Now you'll have to pay for your own dinner, but that's all you pay for. And come have dinner with us. That's it.
And last year, the dinner, it was a fun time. It's like there's no assigned seating, it's nothing. Everybody was mingling, and so, come on.
Yeah, we had a really good time. Absolutely did.
We had a great time. During the break, though, I was looking up your Eloise in Michigan, and then also our friend Terry Mosby, she messaged, she's lurking in chat, and it's $1,200 for 10 people, which if you break it down per person, it's not terrible.
Right.
$1,200 for 10 people.
It's from 8 p.m.
That's not bad.
But that's not bad. The only catch, though, like Terry said, it's only 6 hours. You get it from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Yeah. And that's that's closed to the public, just for the paying.
It would be for like your 10 people
your 10 people. Yeah.
You would have the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely something to take a look at because, maybe not this year. We do have a lot of stuff coming up, but it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, KRISTA, quick question. Do you remember the town that sits right next to Anniston that everybody's staying at, where those hotels are? Do you remember that town? I don't either. I'd have to look it up.
You know what? We gotta double check too with Anita about the hotel, because I got to get with Anna, and I see she's
yeah. So we're going to find out exactly what hotel we're going to be at. We don't know exactly which one yet, but as soon as we do, we'll let you know. And like I said, where we'll be staying, there's like 5, 6, 7 other hotels right there.
It's in a circle.
Yeah, it's in a circle. So, if you're not in the same hotel, you'll still be close anyway. So,
and honestly, last year, Brandi and I was not in the same hotel with anybody. And
no, we weren't
right there. No.
All we had to do is walk across the parking lot and meet everybody else. It was not a big deal at all.
Mm-hmm. Right there together.
So, that's definitely awesome time. I mean, what I love most about these, not even the conferences are cool. I mean, speaking's cool and having your vendor table is cool. But what I enjoy the most for the couple that I've gone to is meeting all the people that subscribe to our channels, people in chat, people that we don't even know that just watch.
I can't tell you how many people are in your chat right now that honestly I've met face to face, and they're great people, So, and it's, from the conferences and things. So it's awesome.
It is. And I've met a handful. It was really humbling, really, and a great experience, because I just remember the first one I went to where people are coming up to me, BMR, and I'm like, and I got to tell you, I'm like, hi, and you're, I'm so-and-so. I watch your show all the time, text and all that. I'm like, I got to tell you, it's really, it makes me feel satisfied for what we're all doing here, that we have a following, that people like our shows, and I figured it's a good feeling inside when people I appreciate your hard work. And
Pancho Zorge, he's in chat, and he says, until you meet him, then you start to consider life choices. You know what, Pancho? I do believe we did meet you at
we did meet you
at the conference in Springfield, Missouri. We sure did.
Yeah, I definitely got to meet Pancho, because Pancho was quite a ride. So
we met his dog too. He had his dog with him.
Yeah.
Well, Pancho, looking forward to meeting you. Hopefully, you can make it to Alabama, and everybody else for that matter that's sitting in chat, and all the people that are listening that don't participate in chat. You're just as valuable to me and the girls in text. Because hey, you know what? A lot of people just they don't want to go in the chat room. And I find more and more really quickly before we get back to what Brandi was talking about, I'm finding that I don't participate as much in chat rooms on certain shows because I like really the content that everyone puts out. And so that's
right.
And I'm, and again, and sometimes when we do shows every week, you just want to kick back and enjoy a show and just kind of like veg out and just watch it. Because half the shows I watch are on TV now anyway. And I'll have my phone where I'll jump in chat and say hello, But when you got the TV rolling, you just kick back and relax. And so thanks to everybody for making it a great year for all of us across the
Yeah,
board, for Tex,
absolutely.
the girls, and of course myself. You know,
Mhm.
with our new partners in crime, Barton and Donnie. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I couldn't think of more people to be partners in crime with, better people than all of you guys. So for sure,
Absolutely.
I do
everybody that you
appreciate
just
it,
named.
and we all
You
have
know,
good
because
times again.
you're sitting there and you're talking about the TV and all of this stuff. I'm going to tell you this much. I don't even turn my TV on anymore. They have pretty much taken all the shows that I like off of TV. So I mean, I don't even get that content on TV anymore. So I'm telling
Yeah,
you, where I get my content from is YouTube. I
Me too.
really do.
Me too.
yeah. Well, you know, the thing is this: when I say watching TV, I'll watch like these shows on YouTube. I'll watch them on the TV instead of
Mhm.
sitting
Hmm.
back at my computer on my phone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe Snore. You know, you wish the show could be better. Well, you know, I do. I do too.
We all
Although
do.
it's a fantastic show, it could always be better. You never sit back and just say, you never rest on your laurels, I guess it is. I
Mhm.
could have a great show and I can always find it could always be better.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing too. You know, not all of our shows are for everybody, and that's okay. I
Hmm.
mean,
You know?
Yeah.
not everybody likes all the same topics we do, and that's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, you know, we do a variety of
Mhm.
everything, especially now more concentrated moving forward for the new year. So, with that being said, I love our shows. I think they're all entertaining. And I think that the vast majority love it and love our content.
Yeah.
Hmm.
With that being said, so Brandy, I was saying about, well, man, you know, when they kind of commercialize it or they redo these rooms, they redo the front of the buildings. To
Yes.
me, it scares off maybe some spirits, or you're not going to get as much activity. Now, at the end of the break, before the break, you had mentioned that's not always necessarily the case, and you shouldn't be warded off because of that. So, if you want to get into that a little bit, I'd be interested in hearing
Sure.
it.
Well,
I go ahead,
go
Brandon.
ahead, Krista.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I go into buildings that have a lot of construction going on,
Mm,
I kind of tend to stay right where that construction is going on
Yep.
because somebody always has something to say. They
Mhm.
don't like all the noise, the racket, the people. It is unfamiliar to them. They don't want them there. It's usually the most active
True.
part in the building. But to go back and say, I've walked into buildings, walked right in the front door. Didn't
Mhm.
even have time to get my equipment out, and I am hearing disembodied voices
Mhm.
just walking in the door. So it's not always the case that all these little scary little places are and it's like everybody's like, oh, it's the basement, the basement. A lot of places I've been, the basement is not the scariest place in the building.
Right. True story.
Because when we got talking about Ohio State, reformatory, it was the attic that got me. It
Mhm.
wasn't the basement.
Attics are creepy to me, though.
Yeah, they are to me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because that's where everybody stores their old stuff.
Right.
That's where they store the stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been in some basements that creep me out. I'm not going to lie about it.
Mhm.
But the majority of the time, to me, that's not where the spirits want to hang out.
Right.
They want to hang out where you are, and usually that's kitchen, living room, family room, bedrooms. They want to be up in your business. They want to talk to you. So I find most of my activity in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I would agree.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't tell you how many times I've walked into somewhere and I am not even ready, haven't even set my bag down because I carry backpacks full of stuff,
Mhm.
and I've not even got in there to even turn on an audio recorder, and I've got things going on, and I'm like, whoa, I wasn't ready for this. And as dumb as I am, and I keep saying it all the time, I need to be ready when I walk in these places, and I'm telling you what, every time I'm not ready. I
Yeah.
am not ready. I just need to start pulling the stuff out in the car and have something at least ready when I walk in somewhere. You're
Well,
just not ready for it.
Yeah.
Well, this is a newer person I've never seen. Cy Morial. Thanks for coming on in, Cy Morial.
Yeah. Thank you.
I am pretty
Thank
sure
you.
the show about Eloise was on Expedition X.
And
And
that's,
yes, it
I love
was.
that show. So I'll definitely be checking that
Yes,
out.
thank you for that, Cy Morial, for coming on in and giving
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it was Expedition X.
Okay.
Do you know what
And they,
channel that's on?
Yes.
and also, and really
It's on
briefly, they've done a
Discovery Plus.
yeah, and they've also done a couple this was the new one, and they did another one couple 2-3 years ago. So they've got a couple now. And this one I
Okay.
just saw was in fact the latest, which was like
Mhm.
blew me away. It just blew me away.
Yeah, that's a great show anyway, that Expedition X. I mean, Josh Gates, you can't get any better there.
No. 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 Let me see. Mike A says, I feel sorry for the people that have been haunted and tormented in their own home. What a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. True story. And you know what though? That's honestly why I got into doing this. It was the private cases and seeing these people, and it's sad because they truly are scared.
What do you think? What do you think, Rob? What do you think about that?
About the homes,
Do you think that it's like that people are tormented in their homes? Do you think that that's true?
well, I think it probably is
think
true for some
so.
people. I think for
Yeah.
some people probably is true. And I can't go on experience because I've had hauntings in my houses where I was never, oh my God, I gotta move. But you get a little taken aback, and then you kind of get your stuff together and rethink things over. But again, case in point, if the Amityville horror was true,
Hmm.
I'd like to think it was.
I believe
tell
it
you
was.
what, that you guys,
Me too.
I read that book in 5th grade.
Wow.
In fact, yeah, I read it. I went to Catholic school, and we had listen to this, and we read the Amityville horror in 5th grade in school. We had all of our desks aligned in a big circle, and the requirement was for everybody to buy the book. And
Wow.
back then, that's kind of odd to have and my teacher, though, Miss her name was Miss Trinidadi, and she was from Brazil. So she was not a nun, because it was a mixture of nuns and teachers at my school. And you talk about being a person that's very progressive.
Mm-hmm.
She was progressive. Okay. And so everyone I'm getting a copy. And then in fact, of those kids where their parents wouldn't buy it because it was just not the subject matter, or they didn't want to purchase anything, she was cool and bought people books, used one, whatever. So all the classmates had the books, and we started reading this book in Catholic school, and yes, the unabridged, unedited version. So there was some graphics in there for us kids in 5th grade. No, I checked that 6th grade. She was 6th grade. So, but 5th, 6th grade. We read that book, and I would take it home and I would just read it in advance. When I got home after school, I just kept reading it. And I gotta tell you what, talk about being terrified. I would have left that house way, way before
Mm-hmm.
they decided to skedaddle. That, you guys, to me, is still one of the most terrifying paranormal / ghost stories. And there was something evil about that, though. That's what struck me the most.
I definitely believe that's a true. I believe that happened. I believe Amityville is 110% true, and I can't believe that you 6th graders were reading it. At that age.
Werewolf says, yeah, kind of young for that. Yeah, I tell you what, I agree. But here's the thing. Again, Miss Trinidadi, very progressive, from Brazil, probably not 100% up on our customs. She spoke good enough English.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say more about her because, I'm just not.
Yeah.
However, yeah, I tell you what, I learned a lot from her, and I learned a lot reading that book, and I got hooked immediately on that. I started buying Stephen King right after that, not too long after.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. I don't know. For me, it's the private cases. I do enjoy helping people. And I even put up a post today on our Blondes and Booze the do's and don'ts of paranormal, of ghost hunting, just because, with these private cases, it's things that you don't think about, that people don't think about, that, I watch a lot of these YouTube shows, and I got to tell you what prompted this. I'm not going to name the show because I was quite perturbed with them. Number one thing, the guy went in and he was talking about, he's like, oh, only demons do that. And I don't even know what happened. It was something stupid. He's like, only demons do that. Well, then he's got a homeowner here. He's freaking out. Like, what are you? What are you? Are you here to help people, or are you here to gain notoriety for yourself?
Yep.
And that just really, it kind of ticked me off, and so that prompted my post today. And a lot of people don't know, like, the behind the scenes stuff. Like, one thing I said on there about, don't wear your team shirts to a private case, because a lot of their neighbors don't know. They don't want them to know. So don't, make a big deal of going there. Just be normal people, and it's just a lot to it. And it's about, it all goes back down to helping people, they're scared.
Absolutely. And again, that's, for all of us, that's what we love doing, is helping people. Certainly I do, because no one helped me when I had my stuff going on. I had to.
Well, me and Brandi would have, had we known you back then.
And, of course, but when you're green, you don't know it. I never watched anything about Bigfoot or paranormal or anything. Albeit I enjoyed it and I'd watch movies, but I was not a YouTube guy. I didn't buy books on Bigfoot or I bought Stephen King books, yes. But when you had that physical thing and I had nowhere to go or turn, I'm not getting into mine. It took me a long time to find people I could trust. And that's why I do this, to help people. And we're all the same when it goes to that.
Yeah.
And that's why you guys, let me ask you this, because I know you're very truthful. You're very honest. You guys present the best evidence that you can, and you don't embellish anything. I know that as fact. What I do also want to ask, though, when you've had investigations, let's say that after going through the evidence and going through your thought process, and you think that maybe there's evil lurking in somebody's home. I know you're truthful. You probably tell them, but isn't that kind of, how do you go about telling somebody that there's an evil presence in someone's home? Do you kind of not tell them, but tell them, all I can say is this: I suggest you get a cleansing or have a priest out here.
See,
we won't
do that. We will never say, I suggest you should do this. You know what? That's our job. They called us in to help them. So we help them to the end. You got to have a plan. Once you look at your evidence and like Brandi says, when in doubt, throw it out. If it's not 110% sure that it's paranormal, don't present it as evidence. So if you come up with the conclusion that it is something negative, and you go in with a plan, it can be a cleansing. It can be, just all kinds of different things. And sometimes people, they get PTSD from these kinds of things. So you might want to suggest, counseling or something like that. So it's not just about, telling them you need to go get a cleansing. It's our job to find the right person to maybe come in and help them.
Yeah, I know that. I didn't really mean it that. Yeah, I get what you're saying. So, I understand that's what you would do. That's your job, and I get that. My thing is it harder for you to tell a person when you know in your heart of hearts that, man, this is really something bad going on?
So the few demonic cases that I've actually went in on that were true demonic, we had an idea going in just because of the things that happen. So if it's a negative case, these people already know, they're being scratched, they're being bit. So they already know it's a negative case, so the D word is a big thing though. And a lot of times they have, the notion in the back of their mind, it's possibly demonic. And that's, again, once there's so many different things to rule that out, or,
And again, I'm just speaking for me and me only. If I didn't know you two and you came over and this is just a made up thing right now. If you came in and let's say I had a problem and you came in and you said, Rob, you got demons, and you were flat up because I'd want you to be truthful. And you said, look, from our experiences, you got demons. And if any investigator were to tell me that, I don't even think, now it depends on my life situation, married, kids, whatever, right? But me as a single individual, and you told me I had demons and I lived alone, I will tell you this. Whatever your suggestions were about having a holy man in or doing a cleansing, I would be calling my real estate agent
Well,
and
here's the
getting
thing,
the
though.
hell out of there.
They could follow you. So you're
Yes,
better off taking
unfortunately, I
care
know
of
that.
it there.
Unfortunately, I know that as well now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
And a true demonic
I
entity, they will. You're their
can't.
target.
I wouldn't be able to sleep at all.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
And that's where, you know, like if it is truly demonic, and we know that, we're not going to lie to you. We'll be honest with you. However, we're going to be there with you every step of the way. We will help you.
You know what?
With everything.
Personally, if it were me, okay, one night's not going to do it. I mean, one investigation is not going to tell
Absolutely.
me what you have is
Absolutely.
real or not real. I mean,
Yeah.
it would have to go over
Mhm.
a space of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then even if I suspected it was demonic, I would be like, hey, Rob, you got something kind of nasty. You got something real nasty here.
Mhm.
I'm going to get somebody for you, and we're going to continue on to see
Yeah.
what we truly have.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
would never make that determination by myself just on a whim, saying, oh, you got something demonic.
Right.
I would never do that.
I didn't think you, I don't think you two would do
Mm-mm.
that.
But there
I
are,
wouldn't
even
call
call
it
it
demonic.
there are things that you can do, and you know, the claims of the family there, and there are things, like I said, you can do to figure out if it's demonic or not.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's not. Most of the time,
Right.
a person can
Right.
drink holy water. A person who's possessed,
if-
they're not going to drink holy water.
If you have something truly demonic,
Mhm.
Krista and I have a few people that we can call.
Well, see,
yeah.
what you guys just presented there was great because you're not going to do a one and done investigation.
Nope.
No.
You're going to come back multiple times and you're going to bring back people that you think could help you guys, which me as the client, I guess you would call it,
Right.
would feel a lot better, safer.
Well,
you know,
well,
have
there's
more.
there's also this. Now, I'm not going to say it could be done in one night, and I'm going to tell you how. If you walk in, if it's demonic, it already knows why you're there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell
Right.
it a thing. It already
Right.
knows.
It'll hide. It won't come out.
It'll hide.
Mhm.
Or it'll be mad because you're there and just, you know, just cause havoc. You know, it's going to do one of the two things.
Mhm.
It's not going to like you there because you don't want it there.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times that will happen. Most times it'll just go hide. So you can't tell what you got.
Yep. True story. And then,
Mhm.
and here's the thing too, we're not going to just say, oh, well, we're going to call this person in for you. We won't do that. You know what? I give people my cell phone numbers and I tell them, I don't care if it's 2:00 in the morning and you're scared, you call me. And that's happened.
Mhm.
I have talked to people in the wee hours of the night because they're scared. And we stay with them to the end, you know, and
Right.
there's still cases that I still talk to past clients,
Yeah.
Right.
you know,
And
and
I
a good
think-
investigator will do that. They're just
I
not
think-
going to, you know, drop you.
And I think that's the thing you should do. I think you should always follow up. I think, as you probably do, I'm just
Oh, yeah.
speculating. You got your list of all your investigations, all the people that and everything. You probably have a write up on your findings and what you suggested.
Mhm.
And I think that's cool because that's it's great for business, for one, to follow up maybe a year later. Hey, Jason, you know,
Mhm.
remember, blah, blah, this is Brandi and KRISTA. Remember that, blah, blah, blah. How's it going?
Yep.
You know, you need, or whatever. You know what I mean? Just,
Mhm.
and that's a reassuring
Mhm.
is for people
Yeah.
to know that, hey, you know, I had the right people here, which
Right.
again would lead to more word of mouth for you guys. Hey, they're the real deal. And
Yeah.
and the key to all this is you got to care about the people you're working with, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And we do. Brandi and I do. And that's why we do private cases, to help these people, you know, because a lot of people, they don't know who to turn to, or they turn to the people that, you know, my biggest pet peeve is charging people. I don't believe in
Oh,
that.
God, yeah.
Not at all. And they'll turn to
Yeah.
somebody who say, "Oh, for $1,000, I'll come get rid of that ghost." Oh no, BS. BS.
Right. You know, and the good thing about it is that if anyone has a problem, they can contact us. And
Mhm.
if we can't get there, we'll get you somebody.
Who's reputable.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We know a lot of
That
people
has
all
a
over
very
the
good
United
reputation
States.
in the field, doesn't charge all that nonsense, because that's just,
Right.
that's what it is.
You know
It's
what I said
nonsense.
in my post today, if you can't afford your own gas money, you shouldn't be doing it. It's an expensive,
Mm.
it's expensive to do this, what we do.
Yeah.
Yes,
Be
it
it
is.
cryptids, be it ghosts, be it any of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All of my equipment, everything I have bought on my own dime. So it is not a cheap hobby.
No.
You know,
Not
and
at all.
actually research for cryptids of any sort is not a
Sure.
cheap hobby. We all know that. You know,
Right.
yeah, we talk about camping, not spending money, but yeah, you got to, you know, drive there,
Mhm.
get your food, make sure you've got what you need,
Right.
da 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 da. I mean, it gets expensive. So I mean, if you're in research of any sort, it's not cheap.
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know, no, absolutely, it's not. And again, as you said, it's it's not an inexpensive hobby, but for
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
guys, it's not even a hobby. It's what you do outside of
Mhm.
Yeah.
your regular work life and such,
Yeah.
and family life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk a little cryptids here. So I
Mhm.
got this story I do want to share. And I was thinking, me and Brandy were talking about this. We had a couple late night shows, and I brought up a story. We broke it down. I was suggesting we're doing that today. Maybe we can get into a little bit. I do want to talk about this Dogman, and it's funny because last week we did a lot of shows on. Of course, we had Sibylla on, and we did the breakdown of my
Mhm.
Bigfoot, whatever the heck it was. And then I put out for people wanted to hear the story, so I made a video. Then I went on Barton's show and did it. And so I had got an email that I had saved away, which was about Wexford, Michigan. Now, Wexford, Michigan is the county that I had my experience in. Okay. And Wexford, Michigan, again, is the capital of Dogman. So they say in our state. The most Dogman sightings have taken place in Wexford. So the person watches the show, sends me the email. So I did this last week. You guys can look it up. The full versions on the channel. But in 2022, this man lives in Wexford County, Michigan. He lives in the outskirts of the Manistee National Forest. Now, of course, the Manistee National Forest is where my encounter took place. And he starts out this email by saying, Rob, I do believe that I have dogmen on my property. Okay. So
Mhm.
I'm going on and reading this. He goes on to tell me this story. And he goes on to say, now his name is David in the email. His wife is Candace. And it was one morning, 8 or 9 in the morning. David he worked in town locally, about half hour away from the house. And Candace and David's washing machine was working. I almost thought said washing because me and Brandy, but her dryer, the dryer was not working. She did her wash. She went to the dryer. The dryer went kaput. Couldn't dry her clothes. Now this is like early in the morning, and this is like I think spring, summer, but it wasn't cold outside. And they have about 6 acres of property. They had about a 1,500 square foot house, and so they had a clothesline. You know how back in the day people drive their clothes
Mhm.
on a clothesline? And he was telling me, well, thankfully I never tore it down because our property is so big. I never bothered to take down the clothesline. Thankfully that day it was up, so Candace takes the wash out and hangs it on the clothesline to dry. So she happens to be getting close to the end of hanging up her clothes. She's got several garments left in her clothes
Mhm.
basket when she heard from the wood line. Now, the woods, the forest, Manistee National Forest surrounds the property. And of course, they got a big meadow. Everything's cut down, manicured, and whatnot. But from the wood line, heard this very ominous howl, and it was very loud, very guttural, and unlike anything they'd heard. Now, this story takes place in 2022. They had lived there since 2016. And so she's familiar with the animals, but never heard such a howl. She, in fact, got so scared with this that she quit putting the rest of the clothes on the hanger. She turns around, she goes back into the house. She sits back down. She drinks the rest of the coffee that she had started and did not go back outside until the husband came home. Husband David comes home. She tells him the story. We got to go out back. Tells about the ominous howls. They get outside and they're looking and on the ground, the clothes basket that had the other clothes was dispersed about the ground, and some of the hanging clothes that she had fastened up there, some were clawed at, and there was like razor sharp claw marks. They were slashed, okay, but on the ground, there some of the clothes had like animal canid footprints from the mud got trampled on the clothes, and you can see distinct footprints on some of their clothing. So David is looking about the property and goes forward, and he sees a lot of other oversized canid type tracks. And he says, "Wow!" And then again, honey, you heard howls, this and the other. Yeah, hon, that's why I got scared. So he says, "Well, I'm going to tell you what. I don't know what this is." So he starts investigating a little bit, and he follows some of these canid tracks, and it was unusual because the tracks left from their property. He followed them, and they went towards the wood line. And he's looking, and then some started to fade away. But there were several prints or tracks. But he said what was most unusual was there were no tracks coming from the wood line to the home. It was just leaving the home. So first of all, he thought that was unusual. The oversized prints he thought was unusual. How the garments were tattered and torn. So he said, "I'm gonna call my friend Ron, and he's gonna come tomorrow morning, and we're gonna go out and take a look into the woods." Of course, Candace says, "Okay, well, that's great. Well, I don't want to be here when you guys are gone. I'm going to go to my friend's house." So next morning, Candace goes to her friends. Ron gets over there in the morning. So Ron and David now do a little investigation. So Ron gets there, and again, he tells Ron the story. He goes and he looks. He finds all these again, shows the tracks. A little more, now they're a little more faded as the night wore on. But he could definitely see distinct, big, oversized canid prints. So they're like, okay, so they venture off into the woods, and Ron has a shotgun with him. They get into the woods, and again, they go in. Maybe it might be 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. They break the tree line, and they found a couple paths that they took on and ventured off in. And for the life of them, they can't find any evidence, no clues, nothing. But they did say that the unusual thing about the woods, and Ron made mention, or David made mention of this, that for the first time in a long time, the forest was deathly silent. Didn't hear the rustling about of squirrels or smaller rodents. Didn't even hear the chirping of birds, but they never came across anything. They just thought it was an ominous feeling in the woods. So they're out there maybe 6, 7 hours, hiking, stopping, taking a break, BSing, discussing the situation at hand. So now they decide to turn around and go back to the house. trekking back through the woods. They break the tree line, which now leads into the back of David's house. They're about 100 yards out, and they see what appeared to be 3 animals. Now he says animals in the beginning because they're this is with the naked eye, and they're on 2 legs and they're running about the clothesline. Now, what I didn't fail to make mention earlier is that David and Candace had a chicken coop and they raised chickens.
Mhm.
So now he's looking and he's trying to make out what this is. So Ron pulls out his binoculars, looking at these 3 animals on 2 legs running around. He focuses in and then he hands David binoculars, and Ron's facial expression, he says, was just kind of terrifying. The guy looked scared.
Mhm.
David gets David now has it, focuses in. Sure enough, there's 3 bipedal. He says wolf-like creatures because he could zoom in and see the heads of dogs or wolves on top of these bodies running around on 2
Wow.
legs. Now, what he says really got him was with the clothesline that was hanging up. He's seen 3 or 4. He goes, "Are those my chickens? Some of my chickens?" He notices 3 or 4 chickens strung up from the clothesline, kind of hanging there.
Mhm.
And he sees they're white chickens, and he notices man, is that blood? Is there red? These, and again, I don't know how good the binoculars were in, so he really didn't get that great of a vision. But apparently apparent to him and his what he could see, wolf-like heads, 2 legs. He knows his chickens are strung up. Now, as he pulls out his binoculars, the other gentleman, Ron, boom, boom, has a shotgun and he blasts the shotgun into the air. 2 or 3 shots he fired off. And now these dog-like creatures, these wolves, they start running not toward them, thankfully, but easterly toward the other tree line. And they start running on 2 legs. Then they drop to quadrupedically and ran. And he's trying to pick them up with the binoculars. And he says apparently before they even hit the other tree line, they kind of just vanished before hitting the woods. Now
Wow.
he pans back over and he goes, "Let's go." They start running toward the house and getting closer to the
Mhm.
tree line. Excuse me, the home and the line where the clothes were being dried. Now where the chickens are. He goes, sure enough, 3 chickens were strung up on this clothesline, and they were shredded, not eaten at, they were clawed at and like razors and
Mhm.
just mutilated.
Wow.
And he thinks, oh, holy cow, I gotta look to the left where his chicken coop was. Looks to the left where the chicken coop is. The chicken coop is smashed to bits. Gets closer, and all the remaining chickens that were in the coop, they're all dead as well, and they also were mutilated. He goes, Rob,
Wow.
the thing about this is none of the chickens were eaten at. He goes, this was for sport. This was done for fun.
That was a message.
That was definitely a message. So, and again, Candace, the wife, is still not home yet. Again, they had a dog, German Shepherd named Fargo, which he tells me in the beginning of the story. I just remember now, but they did have a dog, and he thought it was unusual that when they were on the property and went in the house, they can't hear the dog bark. They don't know where the dog is. The dog is gone. Now, this is not going where you think. The dog was not found. In fact, the dog has never been found to this day here in
Aw.
2023, December 26th. Dog vanished. Hasn't found the body. He's looked for him throughout the woods, throughout the property. Dog is simply gone. So Candace. Then he broke the news to Candace about the chickens, how the dog is missing. Very upset, of course, as anybody would be. If since that day forward, Candace has wanted to move. The husband, a little bit, doesn't want to move because he loves his property. He loves his home. I guess he got a good buy on the property in 2016. And the thing about the story is, he says, Rob, this will be about a year. It's a little over a year, but that was the only encounter that he's ever had with these dogman, wolf-like creatures.
Mhm.
And in fact, he intently goes into the woods, kind of looking for more evidence. But the other thing too about this is, hasn't even he personally, and Candace not either, they have not even heard the howls that she heard the day that morning. Nothing, no guttural wolf-like sounds. So it's been like 14 to 16 months. And she goes, "What do you think, Rob?" And I'm thinking, well, you had dogmen on the property. The only thing I can suggest is they did what they wanted to do, and maybe they moved on, migrated somewhere else.
Yeah.
But he still says, well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. He says, the thing that sucks is this. My wife for sure is very scared to she don't even like
Sure.
to leave the house unless he's with her. And he says he's kind of apprehensive to be outside as well. And then I'm like, well, dude, man, I mean, you've been doing your due diligence and trying to do some investigations over the last 16 months. And I just gave him what I would do. If I was scared,
Mm-hmm.
I probably would move because I'm not going to live my life in fear, right? Over something.
Right. Right.
Unlike talking about paranormal, how I said if my house is haunted, I'm moving. And Brandi said, well,
But not if the
Rob,
dogman's in your backyard.
it might follow you or attach to you. I've not heard many stories about dogmen attaching and following people. I have, but not as prevalent as like the paranormal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So me personally, I think if I'm living in fear, I probably would stay personally because of what we all do now. But if I was scared, I'd move. So that's the only advice I gave him was, look, dude, if you both are scared, I know it's been 16 months, haven't seen anything, don't know what you got there. That's your call, man. I can't tell you what to do. If it was me and I was scared, I'd move. So I thought that was a cool, not a cool story. Wexford, Michigan, capital of Dogman. So I said, dude, I will tell you this. I'm not an expert. This is not a fact, but there are dogmen in Wexford, much like there are Bigfoot in Wexford.
Mm-hmm.
So you take that. And I said, dude, I can tell you that probably as a fact. And I don't speak in facts, but they're there. So, again, it'd be interesting to see if he lets me know what he plans on doing. But I got to tell you, what's your thoughts on that one? Because would you guys move or would you just investigate it until you got more evidence?
I personally would not move. Right. However, I would change some things. You know, I wouldn't want my kids going outside at night, you know, or things like that. And I'd go out with my dogs at night and, you know, so that kind of thing. But I don't think I'd move.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't live in fear either because I think I'm pretty good. I mean, hell, I went through my encounter. I mean, whatever. I've seen it all. Mm-hmm. Brandi, what's your thoughts?
Oh, I'm sitting listening to that story and I'm thinking about all this other stuff that I would have done. You know, I mean, you're talking about the tracks that only led away from the house and not to the house. And I'm like, well, did they come from another way and walk around a house where they wouldn't leave prints to a place they got prints? And it just showed them walking away and they'd been, walking around the house. Or I would not leave. Well, I'm in a position where I'm not going anywhere. I mean, there's packs of wild dogs out here. Yeah. And I'm not leaving because, they wreak havoc all over. I mean, I've only got like 3 houses on my road, but that's okay. I mean, it's just, I'm not leaving because of that. I mean, I have to take care of coyotes that get a little too close and a little too brave. And, I have to do all of these things. Mm-hmm. I would not treat it any different because I don't go outside and play in my yard at dark. I don't do it. You know, I've got small dogs that I have to go outside with them because of the wild coyotes and the dogs and running rampant out here because everybody thinks this is a dumping zone. So, I mean, would I live my life any differently than I'm living now? Absolutely not. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I'm already doing all the things that I would do.
The only other thing I think I would do different is, like Brandi said, you know, like you have the small dogs. Well, small dogs still have to go to the bathroom at night too. So maybe I would pack, you know, when I'm out there walking my dogs.
Oh, I do that during the day. I do that during the day. Yeah, I do it. I absolutely do it during the day. So it's, I mean, for me, it's not doing anything different. Just out where I am, I don't have street lights. I don't have, you know, people's lights from their houses, or I don't have all that. I got the lights from my house and that's all I've got. And that's not enough, not for out here, because this is just acres and acres of land with nobody on it. So I can't see this. So, you know, it's just like kind of like I have to adjust. My dogs are very good and they're old. So they like to go out right before dark. They don't like going out at dark. They just don't. So they go out, they do their business right before dark. They go in, they go to bed. And that's the last I see my dogs. They're done. They're done for the night. It doesn't matter. They're done. They don't want to go out there. And I'm sure it's because that they're feeling that they shouldn't be out there because they can't see anything either. You know, they just can't. I mean, there's been times where I have a cat that will get in the window and just hiss outside for no apparent reason. Just hiss. And I can't hear the dogs. And of course, coyotes, we all know that if they're traveling in packs, they get very vocal. You can hear them. And I can't hear them either. I mean, there's just strange things out there. But I definitely would not move. But I definitely would install cameras if I thought it was something bigger than a dog, a regular sized dog. If I thought that,
I would agree.
I would.
Well,
I would definitely do that.
Certainly with the tracks you found, certainly with the smashing of the chicken coops, certainly with this ritualistic
that had been cameras and
mutilation of the
floodlights.
chickens. What I'm doing is getting cameras all over the place. I personally am not moving either because I would kind of investigate it and be into it, not to sound that like the thing about the dog. If I owned a dog, that would bug me, and I probably wouldn't buy another one, especially if I did not know. Because I would worry about that. However, probably not leaving either, especially now. Hasn't had anything occur in the last year and a half. So no, I'm staying home. I'm not moving.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd be more intrigued. I would actually be like you guys. I'd be like, cool.
Right. I mean, if I would have been him, I know I might sound a little harsh to some people, but I'd have bought me some more chickens. I definitely would install cameras. I would have wanted to see what is hunting and killing them chickens, because if they're out there, they'd have come back. I'm pretty sure they would have come back.
And here's the thing. I got what he sent me. And again, did he do that? Did he not do that? A lot of these people I try to follow up with. And a lot of times once they send me a story for the first time, half of them don't respond back. So I'll have follow-up questions, and sometimes they answer, sometimes they don't. But yes, I would be there. I'd have the cameras. I would probably.
Oh yeah, I would have baited them right back in.
I would get more chickens. Yeah. And I would set up my cameras and try to capture on film, or be hanging outside, just lurking in the backyard, laying down, all camouflage. Get my ghillie suit on.
Right. You know, and the coolest thing is that I have KRISTA, I have Bart and Letitia real close to me. And I know a couple other people that would come that far from me. They would come from a long way away, that they would be here. We would definitely bait them back. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And also, I would actually have gotten another dog. Not that but when I left, my dog would always be inside. I wouldn't leave the dog unattended.
I mean, the best case scenario about the dog is that it scared it off, and it was too scared to come back. It said, forget it. I'm not doing it. This is not a place I want to be. The worst case scenario is if it were a Dogman. I'm pretty sure it ate it bones and all.
Yep.
Yeah, probably. I think it's safe to say that
That's a
let's
really
hope.
interesting story. You need to keep us updated if you
Well, if
hear
they
back from
contact,
them.
I
How it,
try to, everybody I've tried
yeah.
to follow up with, as you all know, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But yeah, very, very cool. Again, not cool in the sense of it was
Right.
tragic, I mean, he lost his dog. Or, yeah, the
Right.
chicken thing. I guess I'm like more hardened to this stuff now. It's like, oh, big deal. I'd want to investigate it,
Yeah.
But that's us.
Yeah.
That's what we do. But this is a guy who probably, from my gathering, from reading the email, wasn't really. He watches our
He had
show, but
no
he's got
idea.
he had no idea that
Right.
Well, and here's the thing, too. Somebody that has never had an encounter with one of those, or a paranormal experience, or an alien, or anything like that, they're scared. They don't know what to do. They
Yeah.
don't know where to turn.
Yeah.
So I get that, where like his wife would want to flee. I can understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't know what you're dealing with, that's the thing.
No.
But me being me, I want to know. So that would be
Mhm.
like KRISTA would say, I would get another dog. Of course, I would get another dog. I might get 2 next time. And then, I'd bait them back in, get the cameras and get the floodlights. That's exactly what I would do. The motion lights and all that. I would definitely
Me
do
too.
that.
I would too, because I feel like a dog, would, hear something outside. My dogs bark when something's going on outside. So at least to alert
Right.
me to something. But again, I would not leave my dog out unattended when I'm gone or in
No,
bed. The dog's
absolutely
I
not.
would-
inside,
If I were to get a dog,
No.
I definitely would not leave him. I would go out when he does his
Mhm.
business.
Yeah, that's exactly what every
Or if he
time.
wanted to stretch his legs, guess what? I'm outside watching over.
Right.
And
Me too.
probably
Yeah, that's exactly what I do every time. Yeah.
I probably would be packing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. My
outside
mom's
being-
crazy. She'll go out there with him. she
Yeah.
she has her little gun and up she goes.
Yeah.
Gotta love her. She don't care either. But it's just something that you definitely have to be aware of when you're out there. Like I said, I've got small dogs, and coyotes are just they're awful, especially
Yeah.
when they start getting really brave and bold. You have to be careful of them.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
just I'd like to know. I mean, that whole thing is I would want to know.
Mhm. Me too.
I want to know as well. I
Mhm.
also, we're getting to the end of it. I want to thank Phil L. Bell for your awesome super sticker. I want to thank everybody for coming on in and joining us
Yes.
for this December 26th, kicking it back and chilling about these cryptids, these paranormal stories. If you just joined in, it was a great show. I suggest you go check it
this
out
was fun.
again. Always fun when we get together and just,
Mhm.
talk about these topics. And again, I love
Right.
everybody in chat coming in, everyone listening later. Today is Tuesday, so Wednesday is Wednesday Diva Dimension, Texas Front Porch 10. And what do you
And
guys
Bart.
got going? And Bart Nunley live 9 in the East.
Yep.
And then Thursday, I shouldn't ask you guys. Do you know what you have on tap for Thursday
Yes.
night?
She does this
Yes.
week. Brandi, I'll let you tell them.
Okay, what do you guys got going?
Jay Bachochin. I can't if I said that right. I can't
Jay
ever say his name
Bachochin.
right.
Yep,
I
you
think
did.
so.
Yeah.
That name sounds familiar to me. Should it?
He's a documentarian that did Finding Jay and things like that. So
Yeah. He does all of his research in the Kettle, which is up in the Wisconsin area, all of that area up there.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and he's got
So-
some really cool stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I got to meet him in Wisconsin actually the year before last. I got to meet him there. It was pretty cool stuff. It was interesting to listen to him speak. So I'm really excited to hear him.
yeah. And then
Yes,
Friday
and-
night we have Barb Hartman, and she's going to talk about the Bigfoot clan that lives behind her house. So this week for Blondes and Beers,
Yeah.
it's Bigfoot.
Yeah,
I know-
it's Bigfoot week on the Blondes.
Yeah, Bigfoot week on the Blondes. Everybody, thanks for coming in. Make sure you give a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube, Texas Front Porch on YouTube, Bigfoot Mr. Rob on YouTube, Barton Nunnally in Humanoids, Dottie Cho says stuff. Of course, I see my buddy Duke came in, so you gotta always subscribe to World Bigfoot Radio.
Yep.
Great show, great guest. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for buying the book. And with that being said, I don't know what I got going on Thursday. I don't even know if Tex is going to be with me. Right now, I'm flying solo, and I don't even know if I have a guest. But I'll be on Thursday at 1:00, rain or shine. And with me, it really
If-
don't matter because I always come up with something cool.
Yeah,
As
if
we
nothing, if
as
nothing else, I'll be there with you.
Yeah, well, that's right, Brandy, as always. And what I'm trying to do is waste a little time while I find the exit button. I guess I got to get rid of some. Well, I got what it is. Unlike text, I've all these pictures now. I got to start deleting some so I can find the thing. Everybody, thank you for coming in. Hope you all had a great Christmas. This was a great show. Subscribe, like, leave a comment, give the thumbs up, and we will see you until next time. For Brandy and for KRISTA, we're out.
See ya.